From the Oklahoma newsroom, this is a Varsity update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Jacob Unruh. Jacob, it's week 2 of the playoffs, and that means pretty much every game is pretty good. But you guys still came up with a top 10 games list this week, the 10 best games in the state. Broken Arrow, Edmond Santa Fe tops the list. Why?
It's a rematch, first of all, but it's also the chance to get a West team in the championship game in 6A1 for the first time since the split. And we really think it's a good chance that Santa Fe could do it. They were up 13 the first time in Broken Arrow. It was a rainy, cold night. It really played to Santa Fe's strengths, but with their improvements up front, I think they've got a really good chance, especially after watching Mustang really keep that game close last week and have some chances that they didn't score inside the 5 that really I think Santa Fe would capitalize on with a running back like Darren Williams and J.R. Bryson and players like that.
All right, it sounds like a great matchup. It's another matchup on here that gets my eye because it's a matchup we see so often. Union and Jinx, of course, they're number 2, but these guys are so often meeting in the finals. To have them meeting in a game before that doesn't always happen either.
No, it usually takes an upset. It took Broken Arrow beating Jinx to knock them off the district title. They beat them by 1 point, but it's a rematch. Jinx won it somewhat easily the first time in this season. I don't know that it'll go that way because usually you always see in the rematch sometimes, for some reason in this series, the winner of the first one loses the second one.
It does
and more times than not, it seems to happen that way. So Union's gotten better, and Jinx has obviously gotten better, and people talk how good Jinx is this year. So this match could really come down to the final possession or something.
No, we've talked about 2 games, some other great games on here. McAllister's at McGinnis, Tulsa, Washington, Sand Springs, Deer Creek, Skytook, Douglas, Jones, on down the list. Is there one of these games, though, that you feel like could potentially be the most likely to see an upset, that lower-seeded team maybe spring a little bit of an upset?
You might look at Douglas Jones when you look at that one. Douglas is a physical team, athletic team that really could go into Jones and cause some problems with their athleticism. Now Jones has some really good players with Brandon George, Ty Hughes up front and on the defensive line. So it's a really good matchup that you still favor Jones a little bit, but I think Douglas could sneak in there.
Some of those smaller school games on down the list, things like Minko at Hollis, Millwood at Davis. I mean, talk about some really marquee teams. Lastly, let me ask you, anybody individually that you feel like either had a great week in week 1 or is about to break out in week 2 of the playoffs, somebody that people might want to pay attention to in these games that maybe individually could have a really big week? I
like the receiver at Deer Creek, Zach Kerstetter. They list him at 5'8". It's pretty generous, to be honest. And
I'm 5'8" if he's 5'8".
Yeah,
right?
he's quite the little guy in the slot, but he's acrobatic. He goes up and makes really crazy catches, and he's been a big target the last 2 weeks for Clayton Sims and those guys there, and I think that he can be in for a big week.
And that's a game at Skytook for Deer Creek. Skytook undefeated. Another one of the great matchups in our top 10 games. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.